The quantum wave detector in Dr. Elena Chen's laboratory hummed quietly as it had for the past 3 years. Located deep within the Atacama Desert Observatory, it was humanity's most sophisticated tool for searching the cosmos. But on this particular night, its steady rhythm faltered, producing a pattern that would change humanity's destiny forever. Helena nearly missed it. After 16 hours of monitoring deep space signals, her eyes had grown heavy. But the sudden disruption in the quantum signature snapped her to attention. The pattern wasn't random. It carried the hallmarks of artificial manipulation. "Dr. Chen, your coffee," her assistant, James Rodriguez, called from the doorway. He stopped when he saw her intense focus. "Everything okay?" "Look at this, James." Elena's fingers flew across the holographic interface, isolating the signal. "These quantum fluctuations, they're ordered, too ordered to be natural." James set down the coffee and leaned in. Could it be equipment malfunction? No. Elena shook her head, her silver-streaked black hair catching the blue light of the displays. "I've been tracking similar patterns for weeks, but this is the strongest yet. Something out there is trying to communicate." The signal grew stronger, and suddenly their screens filled with crystalline geometric patterns, transforming into recognizable symbols. First contact had arrived not with ships or probes, but with mathematics, the universal language. Within hours, the Atacama facility buzzed with activity. The United Earth Defense Council's top brass arrived via hypersonic transport, along with cryptographers and senolinguists from every major institute. Elena's discovery had triggered humanity's first contact protocols. The message, when finally decoded, was both magnificent and terrible in its implications. The Galactic Council, a confederation of advanced civilizations, welcomed humanity into their fold. They offered technology, knowledge, and a place among the stars. Earth's governments celebrated. Humanity had finally found its place in the cosmic community. But Elena couldn't shake her unease. The quantum signatures contained embedded frequencies, subtle patterns that others dismissed as background noise. She'd spent her career studying quantum communications theory, and something felt wrong. Late one night, 3 months after the initial contact, Elena isolated these hidden frequencies. What she found chilled her to the bone. Buried beneath the diplomatic exchanges were other messages, military coordinates, invasion plans, and most disturbing of all, casualty reports from other civilizations who had received similar welcomes. The Galactic Council wasn't a benevolent federation. It was a predatory empire that systematically eliminated what it deemed primitive species after studying their defenses through diplomatic contact. Elena's hands shook as she encrypted her findings and transmitted them to General Sarah Hammond, her old college roommate and now Earth's highest-ranking military strategist. The response came within minutes. Confirm data accuracy. If verified, initiate Protocol Omega. Protocol Omega, the doomsday scenario that assumed hostile first contact. Elena had helped design it, though she prayed it would never be needed. She began the verification process, running quantum analysis algorithms that would take hours to complete. But time wasn't on humanity's side. As her computers processed the data, the first signs of betrayal appeared. The Council's diplomatic vessels, stationed in orbit for cultural exchange, suddenly changed position. Their crystalline hulls, previously transparent and beautiful, turned opaque and threatening. Elena's quantum scanners detected massive energy buildups just as her verification process completed. The data was real. Earth was moments away from an extinction-level attack. She transmitted the emergency code to General Hammond, then initiated the facility's defense protocols. Deep beneath the observatory, experimental quantum shields hummed to life. Technology reverse-engineered from studying the Council's communications. The first attack came at dawn. Particle beams lanced from the Council ships, targeting Earth's major military installations. But humanity wasn't as helpless as the Council believed. Hidden defense platforms, built in secret by paranoid military leaders, emerged from underground bunkers and orbital disguises. Earth's counterattack surprised the Council ships. Quantum-tipped missiles, designed using insights from Elena's research, penetrated their supposedly impenetrable shields. The Council had assumed humanity was centuries away from understanding quantum mechanics at this level. They were wrong. As battles raged in orbit, Elena worked frantically to decode more of the Council's secure communications. Each decryption revealed more of their plans and their weaknesses. The Council's technology, while advanced, relied heavily on quantum crystalline structures. Their ships, weapons, even their communication systems all used the same basic principles. They never expected us to understand their technology so quickly, Elena explained to General Hammond over a secure quantum link. Their arrogance is their weakness. They think linear technological progression is the only path. They don't understand humanity's capacity for lateral thinking. Hammond's hologram nodded grimly. How long can we hold them off? Their main fleet is still coming, Elena said, studying the long-range quantum scanners. These were just the advanced forces. But we've learned more from this first attack than they could have imagined. Every weapon they fire, every shield they raise, gives us more data about their quantum systems. Then we better make use of that data quickly, Hammond replied. Because according to these readings, we have less than 72 hours before their main fleet arrives. Elena looked at the quantum patterns swirling across her screens. The Council thought humanity was primitive because they hadn't yet achieved faster-than-light travel or built city-sized ships. But humanity had something the Council had forgotten in their technological advancement: adaptability. General, Elena said, a plan forming in her mind. Remember our quantum entanglement experiments in college? The ones that almost got us expelled? Hammond's hologram smiled grimly. The ones where we nearly created a black hole in the physics lab. How could I forget? What if we could do that again? But this time, on a much larger scale. As Elena explained her plan, alarms blared throughout the facility. More Council ships were entering the solar system. The real war was about to begin, but humanity wasn't going down without a fight. The Council was about to learn that underestimating primitive species was a fatal mistake. Deep beneath the Martian surface, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Project Phoenix was humanity's greatest secret. While the world above celebrated first contact with the Galactic Council, thousands of engineers and scientists worked tirelessly in these underground chambers, preparing for the worst. Commander Maya Patel stood before the massive quantum core of humanity's first phase-shift destroyer, the HFY Prometheus. 6 months ago, she'd been a theoretical physicist. Now she commanded humanity's most advanced warship, built using principles reverse-engineered from studying Council communications. Status report. She called out to her crew, each member chosen for their unique combination of scientific brilliance and combat experience. Quantum core stable at 97%, reported Dr. Marcus Wong, her chief engineer. His hands danced across holographic controls, adjusting power flows through systems that had only existed in theory weeks ago. The phase shift drive is ready for testing. A flash of light on Maya's neural interface indicated an incoming priority message. Elena Chen's face appeared in her mind's eye, transmitted via quantum encrypted channels. The Council's main fleet has passed Jupiter's orbit, Elena reported, her voice tense. Our orbital defenses won't hold them for long. Is Phoenix ready? Maya looked at the Prometheus's sister ships under construction. 5 vessels, each incorporating everything humanity had learned about Council technology. The Prometheus can launch now. The others need more time. Time is something we don't have, Elena replied. The Council's using some kind of quantum tunneling weapon we haven't seen before. Our Australian defense grid just went dark. Maya turned to her crew. Battle stations. This is not a drill. Red alert klaxons echoed through the underground facility as personnel rushed to their positions. The Prometheus's quantum core hummed louder as power surged through its systems. Unlike the Council's crystalline ships, which channeled quantum energy through fixed pathways, humanity had developed a more flexible approach. The Prometheus could reconfigure its quantum fields on the fly, adapting to enemy attacks in real time. All hands, prepare for emergency launch, Maya announced as she settled into the command chair. Neural interfaces linked her directly to the ship's systems, feeding tactical data directly into her consciousness. Surface breach in 3, 2, 1. The Martian surface exploded upward as the Prometheus emerged from its hidden berth. Council sensors would detect the explosion, but by then it would be too late. The ship's phase shift drive engaged, sliding between quantum states in a way the Council had never imagined possible. Multiple Council capital ships detected, reported Lieutenant Sarah Chen, Elena's younger sister and the ship's tactical officer. They're targeting Earth's remaining orbital platforms. Maya watched through the ship's quantum sensors as crystalline vessels, each larger than a small city, systematically destroyed Earth's conventional defenses. The Council's ships were beautiful, their geometric patterns reflecting starlight like massive diamonds. But their rigid perfection was their weakness. Target the flagship, Maya ordered. Prepare quantum disruptor torpedoes. The Prometheus ghosted through space, invisible to Council sensors. While their ships relied on fixed quantum states, the human vessel shifted between states, becoming effectively invisible. They approached within kilometers of the Council flagship, close enough to see individual crystal facets on its hull. Fire. The quantum torpedoes phased into existence inside the Council ship's shields. The resulting explosion wasn't in normal space. It rippled through quantum fields, shattering the crystalline vessel's molecular structure. The mighty flagship didn't explode so much as dissolve, its perfect geometric form collapsing into quantum chaos. Council ships reacted with surprise, their formations breaking as they searched for this unknown threat. Their sensors, designed to detect normal space phenomena, were blind to the Prometheus's phase-shifted state. Multiple targets executing emergency quantum jumps, Sarah reported. They're retreating to regroup. But Maya knew this was just the beginning. Send signal to Earth Defense Command. Operation Firewall is now active. Throughout the solar system, hidden weapons platforms activated. While the Council had focused on major military installations, they'd ignored what looked like civilian mining operations, communication relays, and orbital debris. Now that debris revealed its true nature, quantum mines materialized in the paths of retreating Council ships. Phase-shifted weapon platforms emerged from asteroid fields. Each installation represented a different approach to quantum warfare, developed by combining human ingenuity with stolen Council knowledge. Council reinforcements detected, Sarah announced. Massive quantum signatures approaching from the Kuiper Belt. Maya opened a channel to all Earth forces. This is Commander Patel. The next wave is coming. Remember your training. The Council thinks in straight lines. We think in curves. They follow rigid patterns. We adapt. They fight with perfection. We fight with chaos. Show them why humanity survived every extinction-level event our planet threw at us. The Prometheus's quantum core pulsed as it prepared for another attack. On Earth, Elena Chen worked frantically to decode more Council transmissions. In hidden bases across the solar system, humanity's remaining ships prepared to launch. The Council had expected to find a primitive species ready for harvest. Instead, they found an enemy who had turned their own technology against them in ways they never imagined possible. As the second wave of Council ships approached, humanity prepared to show them exactly how dangerous a primitive species could be. Maya smiled grimly as she ordered her ship into attack position. The Council was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to take an enemy's greatest advantage and turn it into a weakness. The real war was about to begin, and humanity had only shown a fraction of what they were capable of. The Europa underground wasn't supposed to exist. According to official records, Jupiter's ice moon housed only automated mining stations, but Kai Nakamura knew better. As head of the largest smuggling network in the solar system, he'd spent years building hidden ports throughout Jupiter's moons. Now those ports were humanity's lifeline. Kai watched through reinforced ice windows as another refugee ship slipped into the underwater dock. The vessel's hull bore the scars of Council weapons fire, but its stealth systems, originally designed for smuggling luxury goods, had kept its precious human cargo alive. How many? He asked his second-in-command, Zara al-Rashid, a former asteroid miner turned resistance leader. 312, Zara replied, checking her neural feed. Mostly civilians from the Ganymede research stations. The Council hit them hard, but our warning got through in time. The Council had expected to find isolated colonies, easy to pick off one by one. Instead, they found an interconnected network of hidden bases and escape routes, built by people who'd spent their lives avoiding authority. Every smuggler's trick, every hidden route, every stealth technology developed to evade corporate security now served a greater purpose. Signal from the Prometheus, Zara announced. Commander Patel wants to know if we're ready for Phase 3. Kai smiled grimly. While the Council focused on military targets, they'd overlooked the civilian infrastructure that connected humanity's colonies. Their rigid military doctrine couldn't comprehend the chaos of the underground economy. Tell her we're ready. Operation Hydra begins on her mark. Throughout the Jupiter system, seemingly abandoned mining platforms suddenly powered up. What looked like standard mining lasers revealed themselves as quantum weapon platforms. Maintenance drones transformed into combat units. Every piece of civilian technology had been modified, weaponized, and hidden in plain sight. Council patrol detected, warned Lai Wei, their sensor specialist. 3 crystalline corvettes, standard search pattern. Let them get closer, Kai ordered. Maintain stealth protocols. The Council ships moved with mathematical precision, their search patterns following textbook military doctrine. They never noticed the subtle distortions in Europa's ice sheet, the hidden sensors tracking their every move, or the modified mining charges planted in their path. They're in position, Zara reported. Detonation in 3, 2, 1. The charges exploded, not with conventional force, but with carefully calibrated quantum pulses that matched the resonant frequency of Council crystal technology. The corvettes shattered like glass sculptures dropped on concrete. Signal the other cells, Kai commanded. The Council just learned that civilians can bite back. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out. Council ships pursuing refugee vessels found themselves ambushed by weaponized mining equipment. Their perfect formations were disrupted by quantum mines disguised as space debris. Every trick and technique developed by generations of smugglers was turned against them. In a hidden command center beneath Europa's ice, Kai coordinated with other resistance leaders. Dr. Elena Chen's decoded Council transmissions had revealed their patrol patterns. Commander Patel's Prometheus provided military support, but the real power of the resistance lay in its unpredictability. New Council battle group detected, Lai announced. They're adapting their tactics, using irregular search patterns. Good, Kai replied. That means they're scared. When they follow doctrine, they're predictable. When they're scared, they make mistakes. The quantum encrypted transmission lit up their communications array. Elena Chen's face appeared on the main display. The Council's launching a major offensive against the Jupiter system. They'd finally realized how much of their fleet they're losing to civilian resistance. Then they're in for another surprise, Kai said. Show them the next phase. Throughout the Jupiter system, cargo containers began moving. The Council had dismissed them as civilian traffic, not worth their attention. They didn't realize that each container was part of a vast neural network, sharing sensor data and coordinating movements. When they finally attacked, they found their targets had vanished, swallowed by an endless dance of cargo pods and mining ships. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Lai reported. They're bringing in their heavy ships. Kai watched the tactical display as massive Council vessels emerged from quantum space. They still don't understand. They think bigger ships are the answer. They can't comprehend that size means nothing against an enemy they can't see. The Resistance's strength wasn't in direct confrontation, but in 1,000 small cuts. Every supply line disrupted, every patrol ambushed, every communication intercepted weakened the Council's grip on the solar system. Message from Commander Patel. Zara announced. Operation Firewall is entering its final phase. She wants to know if we can keep the Council distracted for 48 more hours. Kai looked at his people, smugglers, miners, engineers, and civilians who'd found their calling in Resistance. They'd spent their lives working in the shadows, finding ways around rules and regulations. Now those skills would help save humanity. Tell her we'll give her 72, he replied. The Council thinks they're fighting a military campaign. They don't realize they're fighting every human who ever had to find a way to survive against impossible odds. As another Council battle group approached Europa, Kai activated their next series of traps. The Resistance couldn't match the Council's military might, but they didn't need to. They just had to keep the enemy off balance long enough for humanity's real counterstrike to begin. The Council was about to learn that their greatest mistake wasn't underestimating humanity's military. It was ignoring their civilians. Sometimes the deadliest opponent isn't the one with the biggest weapons, but the one who spent a lifetime learning to survive in the shadows. General Sarah Hammond stood in Earth Defense Command's backup facility on Mars, studying the quantum holographic display of the solar system. Council forces appeared as crystalline formations, their numbers reduced but still formidable. Humanity's forces showed as a chaotic web of military vessels, converted civilian ships, and hidden weapon platforms. Operation Firewall is ready, reported Colonel Jack Chen, Alina's brother, and the operations chief strategist. All strike teams are in position. The plan they'd developed was unlike anything in military history. While the Prometheus and its sister ships engaged in conventional space warfare, humanity's true strategy had been evolving in secret. Every Council attack, every transmission, every quantum signature had been analyzed, decoded, and turned into a weapon. Signal from Europa Resistance, Jack announced. Kai's network has the Council fleet exactly where we need them. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The Council's rigid military doctrine had become their greatest weakness. By focusing on major military targets, they'd ignored the complex web of civilian infrastructure that connected humanity's colonies. Now that web would become their trap. Signal the Prometheus, Sarah ordered. Tell Commander Paddle to begin Phase 1. Throughout the solar system, quantum signatures began to shift. The Council had assumed they were fighting a desperate defensive action. They never realized that every retreat, every abandoned position, had been carefully orchestrated to draw them into position. Multiple Council capital ships detected moving to intercept the Prometheus, Jack reported. They're taking the bait. Sarah watched as massive crystalline vessels converged on Maya Patel's position. The Council still hadn't realized that the Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was a focal point for something much larger. All stations, execute Operation Quantum Storm, Sarah commanded. Across the solar system, hidden quantum generators activated. Each one had been carefully tuned to match the crystalline frequency of Council technology. Alone, they were insignificant. Together, they created a resonance that rippled through quantum space. Council ships showing signs of quantum destabilization, Jack announced. Their crystal matrices are beginning to fracture. The Council's greatest strength, their advanced quantum crystal technology, became their greatest vulnerability. As the resonance built, their perfect geometric formations began to break down. Ships that had seemed invincible started to crack from within. Signal detected from the Artemis cluster, Jack reported urgently. It's not one of ours. The quantum display showed new signatures emerging from deep space, but these weren't Council ships. Their patterns were organic, flowing, completely unlike the rigid Council formations. This is Speaker Naira of the Artemis Collective. A melodic voice announced over quantum channels. We received your signal. The Council's crimes against emerging species end today. Sarah exchanged looks with Jack. The Artemis Collective. another species that had survived Council advancement by hiding their true capabilities. Humanity's resistance had given them the opportunity they'd been waiting for. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, Jack reported. More ships emerging. The Proxima Enclave, the Sirius Federation. They're all coming out of hiding. The Council had claimed to represent all advanced species in the galaxy. They never imagined that their victims had survived, hidden, and waited for the right moment to strike back. Humanity's resistance hadn't just inspired hope. It had sparked a revolution. All forces, execute final phase, Sarah ordered. Show them what happens when you corner humanity. The Prometheus led the charge, its phase shift drive allowing it to dance between Council formations. Behind it came waves of converted mining ships, their industrial cutting lasers repurposed into quantum weapons. From hidden bases throughout the solar system, humanity's remaining military vessels emerged. But the real surprise came from the civilian sector. Every piece of infrastructure the Council had ignored revealed its hidden purpose. Communication relays became quantum disruptors. Power stations projected resonance fields that shattered crystal ships. Even space debris had been seeded with quantum mines. Council fleet showing signs of full quantum collapse, Jack reported. Their command structure is breaking down. The Council's rigid hierarchy couldn't adapt to simultaneous attacks from multiple directions. Their perfectly coordinated fleet dissolved into chaos as it faced enemies that ignored every rule of conventional warfare. Sarah opened a channel to all forces. This is General Hammond. The Council thought they found a primitive species ready for harvesting. Instead, they found humanity at its finest, adaptable, resilient, and unwilling to submit. Today we show them that humanity doesn't just survive. We thrive on adversity. The combined fleet of humanity and former Council victims pressed their advantage. The Council's remaining ships, their crystal technology compromised by quantum resonance, began to retreat in disarray. They're running, Jack announced, but Sarah shook her head. No, they're regrouping. The Council won't accept defeat easily. They'll be back with new tactics, new technology. And we'll be ready, Jack replied. Every attack makes us stronger. Every technology they use teaches us more. Sarah studied the quantum display, watching as the Council fleet fled through quantum space. Humanity had won its first major victory. But the war was far from over. The Council would return, probably with weapons designed to counter everything humanity had shown them. But that was the difference between humanity and the Council. They adapted their enemies to fit their warfare. Humanity adapted their warfare to defeat their enemies. The real question wasn't whether the Council would return. It was whether they'd realize their mistake before it was too late. The age of humanity hiding its true potential was over. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth species had survived multiple extinction events. Sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the most advanced. It's the one that never stops evolving. The crystalline spires of the Council's home system, Axiom Prime, stretched across space like frozen lightning. For millennia, these structures had stood as symbols of the Council's supremacy. Now they would witness its reckoning. The combined fleet of humanity and liberated species emerged from quantum space in perfect chaos, a formation that looked random but had been carefully calculated by Dr. Elena Chen's quantum algorithms. The Prometheus led the charge, its phase shift drive leaving quantum echoes that confused Council sensors. Commander Maya Patel stood on her bridge, neural interface connecting her directly to her ship's systems. All ships maintain quantum interference patterns. Don't let them lock down our quantum states. On Europa, Kai Nakamura's resistance network had provided the intelligence they needed. The Council's home system was defended by technology far beyond what they used against Earth, but it shared the same fundamental flaw: rigid, crystalline structures that couldn't adapt to quantum chaos. Multiple Council defense platforms activating, reported Sarah Chen from Tactical. They're using some kind of concentrated quantum field we haven't seen before. That's because they're desperate. Elena's voice came through the quantum comm. From her position in Earth Defense Command, she was coordinating the quantum warfare aspect of the attack. They're drawing power directly from their crystal matrices. It makes them stronger, but also more brittle. The Council's defense fleet emerged from the crystalline structures, their ships larger and more elaborate than anything they'd deployed to Earth. But humanity had learned from every encounter. The combined fleet split into smaller groups, each one operating on different quantum frequencies, making it impossible for the Council to counter them all at once. Signal from the Artemis Collective, Sarah announced. Speaker Nyara says their bioships are in position. They're beginning their attack run. The organic ships of the Artemis Collective flowed through space like living mercury, their quantum signatures constantly shifting in ways the Council's rigid systems couldn't track. Behind them, ships from dozens of species the Council had tried to advance brought their own unique approaches to warfare. In the heart of the Council's largest structure, the High Administrators watched in growing horror as their perfect defense grid began to crack. Their sensors, designed to detect and counter specific types of attacks, were overwhelmed by the sheer variety of approaches they faced. This is impossible, First Administrator Xan declared, his crystalline form vibrating with distress. They are primitives. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Their tactics defy all logical progression of warfare. That's exactly why you're losing. General Hammond's voice cut through their quantum communications. You believe advancement only happens in straight lines. Humanity taught these other species what you never understood. Sometimes the best path forward is sideways. The Prometheus phase shifted directly through one of the crystal spires, its quantum wake creating resonance patterns that shattered the structure. Throughout the system, Kai's converted mining ships deployed quantum charges that turned the Council's own defense grid against them. Multiple quantum core breaches detected, Sarah reported. Their entire network is destabilizing. Maya watched as the Council's perfect geometric formations began to break apart. They never understood. They thought gathering knowledge meant enforcing their vision of progress. They forgot that true advancement comes from diversity, from chaos, from species finding their own paths. The Council's remaining ships launched a desperate counterattack, unleashing weapons that could tear holes in space itself. But humanity had planned for this too. Belena's quantum algorithms predicted their patterns, allowing the combined fleet to stay one step ahead. Signal from the High Council chamber, Sarah announced. They're surrendering. The quantum display showed the Council's defensive grid powering down. Their mighty ships, bred for perfect warfare, hung dormant in space. Through the quantum feed, First Administrator Xan's voice trembled. How? How did primitive species achieve this? Because we're not primitive, Elena's voice replied. We're different. Every species you try to advance is different. You tried to make the galaxy perfect according to your vision. But the universe doesn't work that way. True strength comes from diversity, from adaptation, from learning to thrive in chaos. The combined fleets surrounded the Council's central structure. Representatives from every species they had attacked gathered for the reckoning. But this wouldn't end in extinction. Humanity had learned from the Council's mistakes. Your reign is over, General Hammond declared. But we're not here to destroy you. We're here to teach you what you failed to learn. The galaxy doesn't need a council enforcing one view of progress. It needs a federation where every species can advance in their own way, learning from each other without losing what makes them unique. As the Council's leaders were led away, Maya looked out at the crystalline structures that had once symbolized unquestioned authority. They were beautiful in their perfection, but sterile. Already, ships from different species were gathering, bringing their own unique approaches to technology and civilization. Signal from Earth, Sarah reported with a smile. Dr. Chen says she's detected quantum signatures from 3 more species emerging from hiding. They want to join the Federation. Maya nodded. The war was over, but humanity's real work was just beginning. They would help build something new, not a perfect galaxy, but a vibrant one where different paths to advancement were celebrated, not suppressed. The Council had sought to eliminate primitive species. Instead, they had forced humanity to evolve faster than anyone thought possible, and in doing so, they had transformed the galaxy. Sometimes, the most powerful force in the universe isn't the most advanced civilization. It's the one that never stops questioning, adapting, and finding new ways to survive. The age of enforced perfection was over. The age of beautiful chaos had begun.